Hey, we're live.
We are indeed live.
So welcome everyone to the next episode of the Foally of Man. My name is Chris, and with me here today,
Robert.
And we're going to be looking at a little book called Pink Eyes. Followed Equestria Pink Eyes to be specific.
Yes, and this book is in the world and lore of My Little Pony and the video game Fallout. It is a wonderful fan fiction that was originally, Fallout Equestria was written by K-Cat. And of course, this one, Pink Eyes.
And there goes
womp womp.
There goes Catholic.
There's no bloopers. This is live. We're just rolling forward.
She had a little bit too much of this.
Yeah, I know, just a little bit too much. Anyways, this was written. Pink Eyes was written by Mimezinga, who has given us permission to review the book, and oftentimes we'll
more blessing than permission. Sometimes we'll probably. Whatever. I don't know if we'll have the good graces of all the authors for all the ones we do.
So the crux of the show is Chris here is a Brony, and
how dare you?
Okay, how do you identify? How do you identify?
I prefer, it's pretty much it.
You're a Brony. You know?
I prefer the enlightened term horse fucker.
Oh, God. Ouch. Are you giving or receiving?
Por qué no los dos?
Ah! That's how people die.
Please describe to me syphilitic insanity.
Have you ever heard of like a ripped rectum? Hashtag ripped rectum.
No.
It's the new hashtag for the show.
I thought mine was awful, and you're coming here with that.
Gaping for Celestia. Hashtag gaping for Celestia 2K19. All right. So at the end of this disgusting horse sex, he's a Brony and I'm not. You should probably clarify for people who, I don't know why, or you've found this just and you've never seen any episode before. If you're wondering about like, why are they talking about being caped, all this freaking bronies and sexual? It's probably safe to say that most of the fandom is not sexual.
Most of the fandom is probably not sexual now.
Probably. I don't like that you said probably.
I don't know. I do know that about 70% of all images on the largest pony image aggregator are safe. So that's pretty much the number to go by. That's 70%.
That's good. That being said, so in this week's chapter, we are talking about, what's the name? Oh, Call Me. Call Me is the name of the chapter. And of course, real professional here, finding the main tagline. Psychiatric help, 5 cents. The doctor is in. In this case, it's the love doctor. So, where's the best place to say that we start? Puppy Smiles is on her way to...
In the middle of a broccoli field.
In the middle of a broccoli field, but specifically heading towards the settlement known as Broccoli.
Known for its broccoli fields.
Yep, known for its broccoli fields. Although it is noted in the book that these are not healthy crops.
No.
It's amazing that anything can grow in the nuclear wasteland. It's not nuclear. What are we calling it?
Magical radiation.
Magical radiation. Nuka-Cola rad. So she's on her way. She hates broccoli because she's a little foal. Little filly. And basically, when she reaches the settlement that was also known as Rainy Days at one point, she is greeted by a heavily fortified city with a metal wall with no breaks in it. And it's just north of not NCR territory. What is it? What is it known? NCA. And what does that stand for?
I don't remember.
New Celestia something?
Yeah, I don't think we've properly been introduced yet, so...
New California. I mean, we're getting in deep into the Fallout New Vegas lore, basically. And as Puppy Smiles reaches the gates, the guards, who are all wearing like gas masks and heavily armored and on patrols, they are anticipating the oncoming onslaught of basically Pony Raiders. And I can't remember what the name of the Pony Raiders group is.
Oh, gosh.
But they're bad.
Yeah, they're terrible. I think the name is more nebulous.
Yeah. But anyways, we get a report later in the story as well that horde of raiders is heavily armored. They have pony bots on their side. They have heavy weapons, and that they have attacked the ironworks, which we is referenced in the chapter as well as a place to go. Last place says New Canterlot Republic.
New Canterlot Republic was formed out of the ashes of Canterlot's falling post-Fallout Equestria, the book.
This is NCA.
NCA, which I do not remember I don't even think we've actually been introduced to what the acronym stands for.
If Mimezinga was here, he'd be able to to ring in with what it is. But it's not that important. Basically, it's the facsimile of the NCR, though. And the guards are essentially like, should we shoot her? What should we do? And they're like, no, that's the ghost. And
shooting her is always ends up badly for everyone.
For everybody that does that. So just they try and ignore her. And of course, Puppy Smiles thinks that her mom is in the settlement somewhere.
No, we do get introduced to Watcher.
Yeah, she runs by Watcher. And again, have another pointless brief conversation where he insists that she must call him Watcher.
Not questioner, even though he doesn't watch, he only
asks questions. And he's just trying to figure out what happened.
We're kind of bookending the last chapter in which she rained down fire onto a...
Not fire, shooting stars. They were shooting stars.
True, because
she forgot to make a wish.
Mm-hmm.
She forgot to make a wish.
Yep.
So...
Pity.
I'm trying to remember if there's anything else important that Watcher said. I don't remember anything in particular.
No, I think we were just bookending the last chapter.
Yeah, it's kind of like last time on the Foally of Man. No, in
Pink Eyes.
Pink Eyes. So many different names. I there's Pinkie Pie, there's Pink Eyes, there's Puppy Smiles, there's Rainy Days, and none of their names make any sense.
There's Ocular Infection, known as Pink
Eye. And then later we come across Boiled Broccoli, the mayor of this town, who's not a very nice mayor.
No.
Mayor.
Yes.
A mayor.
And
have we met a male mayor?
Well, no. It's the society is generally seen as matriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
It's understood from the show and kind of in the book itself, where they go back on this kind of trope of the universe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think there have been a few. It's just many of the mayors. Well, no, the mayor of New Appaloosa was male.
Yeah. It is interesting if we can think back to Fallout Equestria, Little Pip, the very idea of a stallion running anything just makes like
stallions in politics ever.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
But you grow up in that kind of society and inherently I don't say inherently sexist society as much as one that is very heavily based on gender roles.
Sure. And
you're brought into a world where people kind of go like, look, we're just trying to survive and we've said, fuck it. And you're kind of like, but I have these old world hangups that need to be fulfilled.
Mm-hmm. So moving on. So we have a little interactions with Watcher, questioner, question bot. And Puppy Smiles is trying to get inside the city, but of course the guards are ignoring her, not listening to her, when we get a call from a familiar friend, the Solos AI.
Blue Voice.
Yeah, Mr. Blue Voice. And he is trying to access Tunnel 2, where currently P7 as an AI is residing.
Yep.
Which is important because Tunnel 2 in, what was the tunnel? What was that area called? I know. It was months and months and months ago. Doesn't really matter.
It's the tunnel.
It's heavily fortified and full of lots of dangerous weapons.
Sugar Mountain?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Sugar Mountain.
Okay. So the killer AI, of course, wants to get his circuits on all of this tech. But P7 is an advanced enough AI that he can't break through her firewall.
Yep.
Puppy Smiles, though, puts together this idea that he is in love with P7.
His front-facing AI like persona, the user interface is male, and P7's user interface is female based on Pinkie Pie. Yeah. Clearly, they must be in love.
Well, and they're the only ones like their kind, so they're destined to be together.
Of course.
Yeah. So, of course, he thinks this is ridiculous, but he sees any way to manipulate Puppy as a means to an end.
Yep.
And so he doesn't really play along yet, but he's like, this is useless. I'll just continue to do what I'm doing. And so Puppy Smiles then later on doesn't call P7, gets a call from P7, just coincidentally.
Yeah.
And P7 is checking in like, hey, what did you do?
Yeah.
What happened? Trying to figure out if Puppy Smiles had the weapon. Why did you fire those things? I guess P7 was connected to the array somehow.
Well, probably P7 probably had a connection to it because P7 in the mountain, in that kind of mountain military complex, now has access to the Solos military database, which includes the Ponimides.
Yeah. So, but they get very distracted because Puppy Smiles says, you have a...
Admirer.
No, not an admirer. There's a specific term. It was a pony friend. It was like
Cult
a boyfriend,
friend.
a cult friend.
Cult friend.
It's the version of a boyfriend.
Yep.
Because it wasn't just a cult who's a friend. It was implied a love interest.
Okay.
And P7 says that I was not programmed to love because that was the downfall of P5. And then describes that an AI with love led to the tragedy of basically the end of the war.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's a nasty story. You don't want to hear about that. You know? But then P7 gets very distracted because, of course, it's just Pinkie Pie. It's a Pinkie Pie AI that's a little more direct sometimes than Pinkie Pie.
Yeah, and more, I would say more lucid
Mm-hmm.
than Pinkie Pie.
Yeah.
So it's got kind of the affectation, but it's still a very focused AI.
Watcher does make reference. I should say, I just remembered something Watcher does says. He says that Puppy Smiles reminds him of one of his friends and the way that she would be so anxious and how she would be unable to handle the situation.
Which actually, Mime used a term which I am completely unfamiliar with, and it was lost in a glass of water.
Mm.
I don't know whether that's actually a colloquial term.
I was going to ask about that, if that was a reference to an episode in the show.
I don't believe so, but I don't know whether that's a colloquial term or whether it's just something he came up with on the fly. I don't remember it being from the show.
It was one of those moments where I was like, since it didn't ring any bells with me, I was like, this is one of those things that those bronies would get.
No. It might be because his first language isn't English, and so it may have been a translation thing where it's a colloquialism in his language that's just not in English. And you can pick up on it immediately. It's a pretty interesting phrase.
Lost in a glass of water.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. We were talking to P7, but then P7 gets distracted about the idea, like suddenly gets fascinated with the idea of Puppy Smiles teaching her how to love and what love is. And then they spend a whole conversation going on with that. Meanwhile, the guards are saying like, well, we need to do something. She's a distraction. She's at the gate. She's trying to get in. What are we going to do about this? And they said, well, how about we send out our mayor to go talk to her? Because shooting her is not going to do any good.
Nope.
So the conversation with P7 after P7 is somehow enamored with love now. Because, of course, this highly advanced AI immediately succumbs to the allure of a 5-year-old pony just talking to her about love.
Roll high on that luck skill, boy.
Yeah, I guess so. Puppy Smiles really is a ghost because she just haunts things.
Yep.
So Boiled Broccoli, as we find out, comes out to talk to Puppy Smiles and basically says, well, Puppy Smiles is like, hey, you look nice. I need to get in there because I need to talk to Mom. She's like, you need to leave.
Yeah.
I don't care where you go, but you can't stay here. Can't let you in here. Everywhere you go blows up. Don't want you in here. Bye.
And there's raiders coming here. Yeah. They're coming here right now. Yeah, get out.
You're talking about making friends? How about you make friends with the stable door? Bye-bye.
Get out.
Also, Puppy Smiles has a conversation with her AI in her suit. I can't remember his name. Doesn't matter.
Mr. Voice.
Mr. Voice. Thank you. And it's like, well, how can I get in? So Mr. Voice downloads downloads a map of the area of access points. And he's like, oh, this doesn't match because obviously it doesn't match the pre-war map.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, we'll do a local surveil. And he's like, there's only 2 doors and there's no way in.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what does that mean? He says, well, you have to knock and ask kindly to be let in. That's the strategy. That is how you're going to get in here. It's just funny. It's all this, the way he handles this. And you've got to remember, this AI in a way was designed to handle children because of the suit. But even then, it's woefully underprepared.
Woefully underprepared, and it's the dumbed down version because the suit had to restart initially.
Exactly.
And
it had to restart into like the safe mode.
And it tried to do a network boot off of the original version of the AI, but it couldn't do it because the network is down. It has been down for quite a while.
I do want to say something because there's a chance that this might be happening. My son might be watching this at home on the big screen on Chromecast. So, hi, Atticus. I love you. Because he loves watching his dad and his Uncle Chris on TV. He thinks it's the funniest thing.
You guys are up there. You guys shouldn't be up there. That's hilarious. I've never seen this before.
It's even weirder when I'm sitting with him and he'll be like...
It's gonna be a mind. I hate to say it, but it's gonna be a mind fuck for a child. It really does.
It's gonna be really weird one day when he tells his friends, like, my father is an internet C-list celebrity.
He is,
and they'll
what
be
you would
like,
call horse famous.
That's got to be the pre-pony pun of the week.
Oh yes,
Pre-pony pun of the week.
Apparently, we're breaking an early one out early.
No, that's the pre-pony pun.
I know that an early one out.
That's what we call bonus content. And if you like bonus content, remember to check out our Subscribe Star, because there ain't nothing there. But under the auspices of giving us money, we may do something extra. You want a picture of Chris's asshole? You give me $5. I'll get a picture of that today. I'm just saying, if we needed a picture of your butt,
I have no say in this.
I am so physically superior to you. It's like, it's not even a question. I'd just hold you down. Actually, I'd probably sit on you because I think I've got a good 80 pounds on you.
Possibly.
Actually, that's probably not true anymore.
No.
You've really let yourself go.
I really have.
God, we've got to get through this because there's so many other fun things for us to talk about. Well, like what happened in the last week. So focus, moving forward. So Boiled Broccoli's trying to get with Puppy Smiles, and Puppy Smiles is just so super insistent.
She's having this conversation with Blue Voice, as well as Mr. Voice, as well as Miss Voice, P7. And the entire time, the mayor, Boiled Broccoli, is like, just like, can you talk to me? Can you talk to me? And
well, and what's we got to hit on this.
Doing that perfect thing of, excuse me, can you hold on? God, some people are so rude.
Yeah, Mr. Blue Voice is literally like, she's like, well, tell me what you like about P7. What do you like about her best? And he's like, well, she has a secure firewall. She must be an advanced AI because she's resisted all of my attempts to penetrate the security system.
Her antivirus must be completely up to date.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, he's giving her a cup and he's like, wait, why am I telling you this? I don't care. I'm going away. So even he's being lured into this nonsense because he was probably built on the architecture of an actual stallion too.
Something Frasier.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Frasier.
Oh, baby, I hear the tables calling.
That's the perfect like visual archetype for that voice. He's like, what are you doing? What?
Yeah. Frasier. Yeah. Good old Kelsey Grammer would be great.
Yeah.
If only we could secure him for the animated version of this.
Exactly. I don't know. I heard he likes money.
Let's do real life CGI like that awful Lion King movie that they made. So that it's actual ponies, like it looks like actual ponies, but their mouths move like they, like humans would.
So like Carrie Fisher as not Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Or Grand Moff Tarkin.
What a funny name.
It is. Moving on. So finally, after all this.
No, we're not done yet.
Okay.
We're not done yet. There's some details with P7. So she goes back to P7 and she says, so you got to play hard to get. So when he asks, you have to turn him down.
What? Why would I turn him down?
Because boy AIs hate that.
And he'll fall even more madly in love with you.
I saw it in a story, and it's like Romeo and Juliet, but I can't remember the names. The names were like horse themed.
Tonio and Juliet or something like that.
Something. Anyways, I just thought that was too funny to pass up. It's like, you have to deny him. You must. Then your allure will be even greater. So finally, let's just skip ahead a little bit. Boiled Broccoli caves because she sees the pony inside of her that just wants to love this little foal, and just caves and is like, why am I fighting this little thing? She just wants to get in. Let me bring her in and show her.
To intelligence level 3, charisma level 10.
Yeah. So let me bring her in so that she can see that her mom isn't here, and it'll be done. And then what we find out is that the reason why the settlement is called Rainy Days is because Rainy Days wrote the 10 Commandments all over the walls of this bitch.
Which also means that Rainy Days must be voiced by B. Arthur. That's going to be harder to do, but we'll find a way.
Yes. So we got Kelsey Grammer, we got B. Arthur. Who's going to be Puppy Smiles? It's got to be somebody with like a tiny voice. Obviously, Tara Strong would work, but she already does Pinkie Pie, right? So I'm thinking somebody else, like maybe somebody sassy, like a Kaylee Cuoco, somebody.
That would work.
Yeah, sure.
Work.
Somebody like, well, she'd have to do like the baby voice, but whatever. But I think that she could do the good scary voice too.
Oh yeah.
I think she could turn on the bitchy side.
Oh yeah.
So who would we cast as Henrietta? I'm imagining like a Cameron Manheim. I know she's a little older and a little huskier at this point, but she's got you know who the young version of Henrietta would be? Rebel Wilson.
Oh, perfect.
The fat girl from Pitch Perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
I hate to be like the fat girl from Pitch Perfect, but
the fat girl from Pitch Perfect.
She's also the fat cat from the new Cats movie. Who's excited about that? I know this guy is terrified. But I thought that maybe the furry/brony community, because there is a little bit of overlap, might be somewhat excited.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone looking forward to doing anything but burning it.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. That's a different story for a different day. But yeah, Rebel Wilson as a Henrietta. I think that'd be good. Obviously, she could play up the Australian accent. Why not? Griffins would have an accent of some kind, right?
Yep,
why not?
They're from Gryffindor. Wait, no, that's something else.
No, not Gryffindor. No, there's no. Well, actually, there is magic here. Oh, shit. There's probably a Harry Potter pony in the show.
You're a wizard, Twilight.
Oh, God. No, you're a goddess, Twilight.
Oh, please, no.
See, I know.
M.A. Larson, you son of a bitch.
I know just enough about My Little Pony to break your heart.
Which is also the reason that M.A. Larson's line was this big while Lauren Faust.
His name may be M.A. Larson, but I just call him Ma.
God, why didn't I think of doing that? Going over to him and saying, "Hey, Ma.
Hey, Ma. How you doing, Ma? Would you sign this for me?" And you just hold up your middle finger. I've got a little birdie for you. That's so rude. I would love it if he just looked at you and went, rude.
He actually probably would. Apparently, he's a really, really good sport. Like, he'll sign anything you put in front of him.
Well, then don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Wait, is he the picture of the guy that says eat shit?
No.
No, that's a different guy?
No, that's just a guy who said eat shit.
That's just
a guy who's a wine tester.
I gotcha. But you did send me an image once. That was his picture made up of.
Yeah, it says eat shit, and it's him. It's a wine tester, and it's literally comprised of a collage of pony pictures. Screenshots, I think.
Ooh, I like that. Last place suggest have Blue Voice played by Maurice LaMarche, who played the brain on Pinky and the Brain. That's right. I know who that fucker is. That's how deep my knowledge of voice actors goes.
Maybe, perhaps. I don't think he's quite refined enough, though.
If you've already got Kelsey Grammer, then you should have David.
No.
Is it David?
No, you have
David Hyde. No. Who was Fraser's brother who played Niles Crane?
I can't remember.
Okay.
You're asking me that, and I do not remember. But no, what you do is you have him release Marsh, but you have him do his Orson Welles voice.
That's pretty good.
I think that would be fantastic.
Not his Morbo.
No. No. The Orson Welles voice.
Oh God.
You could talk about the green of this penis.
I don't much care for that.
Yes, look up Orson Welles doing a pea commercial. It exists, and Orson Welles does describe peas as having penis.
He also sold boxed wine.
He loved money.
I love the ad of him selling the boxed wine, and he's drinking a crap ton of it while he's trying to sell it. So by the end of the bloopers, he's just blitzed. Yeah. He's laughing at a glass of wine. God bless that man. He revolutionized the film industry in so many ways, and then he just coasted. He just coasted out the rest of his career.
Well, he was known as a writer as well, right?
Yes, he was all elements: the photography, the acting, the writing.
You could say he was Hunter S. Thompson before Hunter S. Thompson.
Why would I say that? Hunter S. Thompson wasn't good at any of those things other than writing.
I just meant the fact that he was a writer and he was drunk off his ass most of the time.
Hunter S. Thompson had 16 different things besides alcohol in his system daily. One time, remind me, the next time we're talking about drug addiction in this, I will tell you what Hunter S. Thompson's daily routine was.
I was thinking extreme. I do know that. And he only ate once, he had a consistent eating schedule of specific foods that he would eat every day.
Every day.
Weird.
God almighty.
Yeah.
It's a miracle that man lasted at all. Anyways, Puppy Smiles is inside there. Can't read any of the things written on the wall. And so Boiled Broccoli, flabbergasted that this filly doesn't know how to read, is like, well, maybe I can help you. Maybe I can access a log
from a computer
and figure out where your mom went. And Puppy Smiles is begging, even offering her little
Lyra plush that was given to her by not the elder but the scribe,
the head scribe.
Yeah. Now, interesting point that I do want to mention. I didn't actually think about it until you said it just now. She's kind of taken back that Puppy doesn't know how to read. In this world, it would make a lot of sense that a lot of people wouldn't know how to read.
That's very true.
Yeah, that would be one of the first things to drop off is people teaching their children how to read.
Sure.
That would drop off almost immediately.
But in her world,
yeah,
it seems surprising.
Yeah.
But think about it. Her life was probably living in this settlement her entire life.
Well, yeah, and they were probably teaching her how to read those rules exactly because that's kind of their holy tenets.
The backbone of their society. I mean, literally, these were things written by Rainy Days, and they honor her. They honor her from her military background.
Yep.
Which is something we didn't really see. We knew she had access to, but we don't really see that in the story. Anyways, she is able to access in the logs that Rainy Days lived there. Helped build a good society there. And in fact, she was not the only Rainy Days. Successive leaders kind of became known as Rainy Days. There were 5
and they've
other
named their
Rainy
children
Days.
Rainy Days.
It's a very common name in the settlement.
Yeah. Almost as though she's some sort of messianic figure at this
right.
point.
Right. Well, and for them, she developed the society. They're able to grow food that they eat. It's the only thing that they can eat. So it's a whole society of people just eating broccoli. The gas smells in there, the farts from all of that broccoli has just got to be awful.
Oh,
and
don't tell me that horses don't fart tons.
I was going to say, don't tell me that horses don't. I worked around horses. I know they do. They will knock you dead. Oh my God.
And all with this like weird bitter twang of hay and apples.
And those assholes will wait until you're right behind them too to do it. You will catch a face of hot, nasty, fetid fart.
You really
I don't catch a face of it anymore because I'm taller than a horse. But when I was a child working with horses, man, they will wait to fart on you. They will wait to shit on you. They will. And the boys, the male horses, they pee down. But female horses pee out in a stream that just shoots right out their hind end.
Yeah, when you see the tail go to the side, run for the hills.
Yeah. And it's weird. You do get this kind of like weird gurgling sound in the animal because it's a big animal, We probably make a gurgling sound when we're about to pee, but it's so tiny, only like, the mites in our genitals hear it.
Speak for yourself.
Everyone has mites in their genitals. I didn't say what kind of mites.
No, mine are deaf.
Oh, wow.
Look, they were born that way.
So
they ask that you actually respect that in them.
We find out that Rainy Days moved on and settled in a place called Emerald Point, Emerald Shores, Emerald Shores. And it is the southernmost point of the Big 52 because beyond it is just ocean.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, as we understand it, the southern tip of Equestria.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will give you a little hint. As we have been following the Big 52 the entire way down, this is going to be the final stretch.
Yeah. I mean,
you kind of understand it.
Do you see where the bookmark is? Well, they probably can't see where the bookmark is. Yeah. We're getting down to the end. The skinny rinktum, as it were.
Yes. The skinniest of rinktum.
And so Puppy Smiles is like, my mom is there? Well, then I'm going. Bye.
And she's like, wait, no, there's... Fine.
You know what? Do your thing. And she even meets Puppy Smiles outside. Like she thought that Puppy would already be gone. And they kind of have one last little scene together. And she's like, here you go. A promise is a promise. You help me find my mom. Here's, brush her hair every day.
Remember to brush your man. And she's like tearing up. And the mayor's like, I'm not going to steal your doll. And Puppy's like just
okay, thanks, bye.
Well, no, she's just in shock. She's like, no, you have to take it because the deal is a deal. And so finally she's like, fine, I'll take your dumb doll. Okay, thanks, bye. It's the weirdest thing.
And that's basically where the chapter ends.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
With a song.
Well, we do have one last broadcast from Lonesome Pony.
Yeah. Who
says that the battle at the Ironworks is on, that they're fighting the Raiders, and that Lonesome Pony will actually be joining the forces on the front lines with his old battle rifle.
Yep.
By his side.
Because they need to stop that band of Raiders because they're going to fuck everything up if they take over the Ironworks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You don't want to get in that.
So that's the end of the chapter.
Yep.
It's pretty good. Corrupting AIs is a little worrying.
Yeah, there's a lot of fragments of things.
You would hope that there would be safeguards against that shit.
Well, to be fair, she's corrupting both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And the room that he's trying to access with all the weapons is currently sealed away in an area which can't be reached.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Miss Voice already sealed it off.
Yep. So that nobody could access them ever.
Including the death ray that turns your blood to chocolate milk.
Similarly to New Vegas, there's lots of factions that are all at play right now.
Yep.
You've got the Solos AI, not Mr. Voice, but the Blue Voice, also known as Bullybot.
Well,
At one point, he was a Bullybot.
Yeah.
He was in a Bullybot.
Yeah.
You have P7 that is kind of like trying to lock away the technology so that people don't have access.
She's in both Salt Cube City as well as the kind of military complex that's in the mountain, Sugar Mountain, I think.
Mm-hmm. And you have the Raiders.
Yep.
You also have the NCA.
And the Sun City, because somebody took over Sun City.
Right.
You have the roving band of whatever's left of the Brotherhood of Steel.
Right. And you have Applejack's Rangers.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like whatever's left of that faction. Because there's two factions, but goodness knows what happened.
There's a lot going on. So it's not really clear that if we are going to be part of a big battle, but certainly Puppy Smiles is heading south.
Yeah, she's headed towards some kind of next. So only the future will tell, unless you read ahead, at which point you'll already know.
Yeah, we don't have many. How many chapters are in this book? I don't want to look ahead.
It's only a few more. About like 26, 24, 26.
Oh, well, then we have a lot left.
Yeah.
The chapters must start getting really small.
I want to say it could be 22.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
We're getting near the end. And guess what? This is 3 weeks in a row where we've had an episode.
Yeah.
Almost like you can expect it to happen now.
Except for next weekend.
What's going next weekend? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my niece is getting baptized.
Ta-da.
So, yeah. So that'll be happening.
That's not here, so.
Are you coming?
I should be.
Cool. All right. Woohoo! A Foally of Man is headed to the coast. We're headed to Emerald Shores. Actually, we're not headed to Emerald Isle. That'd be nice if we were headed to Emerald Isle.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
And that's not giving anything away because everybody already knows we're in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, no. They know the state we're in.
Technically, that's enough for HIPAA rules.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as HIPAA goes, you cannot classify anybody by any kind of denomination except for the state.
So I'm very eager to get to the how should we call this, the off the record part of the podcast this week. So let's go ahead and get into what is more often than not, and I think you'll agree with me on this, the pinnacle of online streaming entertainment and the highlight, the apex of every episode of The Foally of Man.
It sure as shit ain't Disney Plus.
I am, of course, speaking of the Pony Pun of the Week.
The Pony Pun of the Week.
The Pony Pun of the Week. And the Pony Pun of the Week for this week
is... So what's that time when it's not quite the summer solstice and it's not quite the winter solstice?
I don't know, Chris. What is that time?
It's the equinox.
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 You're welcome.
You can end it now. I won't blame you.
You know what's funny? Is that I imagine somebody who was sitting on the side of their bed with a gun in their mouth and they hear equinox and they go, you know what? Maybe it's all right. And then the trigger slips.
No, they just drop it on the ground and it goes straight to their heart.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Wow. The Foally of Man just got dark quick. Holy crap.
Well, we have been talking about the fall of Equestria, so we're not that much darker than we were.
It's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. Yeah. So, anyways, with that being said, remember, if you like the show, you want to hang out with us and catch up with us and actually have a better chance of knowing when episodes are going to happen, check us out on our Discord in the link below in the description. It is indeed.
If for some reason you have a trouble getting on, just the message, put it in the comments and then below. We watch all of them. So
remember, you can email us too at cbpbch@gmail.com. Again, that is cbpbch@gmail.com. That's also in the description below. We have a Facebook, but I wouldn't go there. We also have a Twitter.
Facebook is for boomers.
That thing's got more
and
dust
we're not that
on
old
it.
Yet.
That thing's got more dust on it than B. Arthur's vagina.
Doesn't help that she's dead.
Well, I mean, that just compounds the effect. She was a good Jew. She was probably buried whole, not cut up into pieces.
Like the bad
Jews? No, well, some people get cremated. I'm going to get cremated.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of dust.
I want you to take, ghee, clarified butter, and treat me like an Indian priest and just like burn me by the river.
Please
wait till I'm dead. Burning alive is a bad way to die.
It really is.
You inhale flames. You can feel all your nerve. We're gonna stop there. That's not great.
It's a little too dark. Okay, so do you guys have any questions for us? Let's see. I'm trying to see what you guys said. Last place is considering how much ponies probably rely on salvage. It probably would amaze me how many of the foals are taught to read and find better salvage. I don't know about that.
I wouldn't guarantee that,
because
I would say
reading
only
would not assist in salvage at all.
I would say that only the societies that are comfortable enough to actually have educational systems are the ones where people are likely to be able to read.
Reading is important for the purposes of knowledge.
Hardcore military units probably do reading training as well.
Yes, because they would actually rely on a lot of like survival books and things like that. So it makes sense in that.
You got to think it's been 200 years. There are people who maybe find people, not raiders, who just for 6 generations have not been taught to read. So they and their children had no access to it.
Yep. And as soon as you lose that once, it's gone forever. Now, an interesting thing that
it's like a feral cat.
Yeah.
One generation feral again.
Yeah. Humans, same way. An interesting point that I think I brought up on this show before, and that I know I've talked to people about in the setting of Fallout, is how do people in the post-apocalypse know what a safe is? Like, of course, you think of a safe and you think of valuables inside, but one generation lost where somebody doesn't know what that is, and all this is a big metal box with a wheel on the front.
Yeah.
There's so much shit that actually doesn't make any sense that's just weirdly shaped with a whole bunch of wheels and knobs and tubes. It could be any one of those things.
In fairness, there were people who did survive the end of the war. And then there were stable dwellers who have passed on their knowledge into the common vernacular.
Again, it's just one generation. If somebody doesn't tell their children this is what a safe is and this is what it does, they're not going to know, and they're not going to propagate that information.
Last place says, for raiders, it makes sense they would be more likely to not know how to read. And I concur, but there would be huge swaths of the societies that just wouldn't have access to it.
Now, this is an interesting question that actually comes up from that in our talk about the fact that you would have to propagate for that to work. Do raiders regularly keep their children?
That is an interesting question. Do they procreate or do they just steal? I mean, on some level, there must be.
Well, obviously, they're going to be hedonistic enough to where they're constantly going to be having sex. But the problem is whether they're just going to kill the child, or whether some of them are going to keep it, or whether they're going to, maybe the ones that care actually like feed it into a village where they actually see a village and put it down onto somebody's doorstep saying, "I hope you the best." Or is the raider society based entirely upon pretty much subsuming creatures from like outcasts from society, from the various small tribes, or maybe absorbing an entire
Considering
tribe?
how prolific they've been, that can't be the case, I don't think.
It's difficult to tell.
I think. Well, I mean, it's just not covered, but I would assume that there is some part of their society that does function. I mean, Fallout actually touches on this, in Fallout 4, when you can communicate with the raider societies. They have a society.
Yeah, they're an entire society unto themselves.
Sure.
Fallout 3 is the only time, well, not the only time, but it's one of the only times where they're not explained in any way and they're just rabid people.
Sure. And there would be factions that would be like that. That would be mind
so
blind.
Impenetrable to the outside that they would literally kill you before talking to you. A cannibal holocaust of the post-apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Last place says, in the main story, K-Cat's story had a cult acting like a small minion of the group. It seemed.
Yeah. Now they might take on young children, or they may actually grow children into the fold. I don't quite know. It depends on each individual author. Some raise them up, some grow them, some steal from other areas. I think it's talked about a little bit in Guise of Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's talked about in Project Horizons, but Somber went the way of it being some mind virus that caused dementia, and the raider mentality was actually a plague. Interesting
question as we get closer to the end of Think Guys. Mm-hmm. What book are you and I going to review next?
That's an interesting one. It's something that I wanted to do Guise of Chaos next. I really do. I really like Guise of Chaos, and I really want to do it. Maybe we can get the attention of Falling Snow. Maybe we can invigorate him enough to finally finish and keep working on the sequel.
That'd be great if it could be finished kind of while we were going. We may have to space out episodes, but we'll figure it out.
Yes.
So
if somebody wants to get in contact with Falling Snow, please tell him to finish, please. That would be great. In the meanwhile, we do have our companions who are working on Murky number 7.
Yep, that's what I was going to lead into.
Now, we have talked, at least I've talked about with the guys who were doing marketing number 7, we might do Project Horizons with them, just because I know it's so much of an uncomfortable issue with you, ponies, and sex. And
you've got this hang up. I'll read whatever fucking story you want. Okay. I'm just going to give honest critique. Take off the fucking kitty gloves.
Okay.
You haven't even watched a John Waters film or a David Lynch film all the way through.
Do I have to watch a John Waters film to know exactly what it is?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So yeah, we can.
I've seen things that you can't even imagine.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Now, come on.
I have to make it my own for copyright reasons, you asshole.
You don't. He doesn't give a shit enough about it.
He's dead.
And he also didn't even watch the movie.
But he wrote that.
He wrote that, and he also had to cut it down. It ended up being like 15 to 17 minutes long originally.
And they're like, well, this is nice. No.
we're gonna have to shorten this a little bit for the theatrical release, I'm afraid. And then Fox came back and said, no, you're gonna have to shorten it even farther.
So, got the pony stuff. Please continue to ask questions if you have any, but off the record. So, Chris, what have you been dealing with this week?
Truck broke.
Yeah.
It actually broke on Friday of last week.
It broke.
Not this last week, but the week before.
It went boom, boom.
Before the last recording.
You had milkshake in the engine.
Yes.
Which milkshake is a nice way of saying oil and water mixed together, which is not good.
It's actually coolant and oil, and it creates this nice frothy mix that looks like melted chocolate ice cream.
Yep.
It looks like a melted chocolate milkshake.
Tastes awful.
It actually smells like death.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not. It's because like that weird saccharine sweetness along with the acrid oil burning. It's awful.
Yeah. But you have your life, which is important. You made it back to the driveway, which helps.
Yep.
But on that note,
you
have a new car.
I do have a new car.
So that ate up a lot of time this week.
Yes.
And we didn't know if we were going to have an episode today at all.
Nope.
But we did.
Yay.
Yay.
So that's taken care of, hopefully for a while now. Which also means we get more content for the channel, because now we get to, as soon as we actually fix the Miata, cough, cough.
I don't have any money to fix the Miata.
Well, we still have to take the head off before we figure out what to do with it.
Because some very selfish listeners won't even give us $1 a month on our Subscribe Star.
I'm not going to use it to rebuild your car.
Yes, but if I didn't have to spend the money on the server and the editing software, I'd have more fun money.
True. So I guess that is a positive. However, yes. So I guess we're going to do a little bit of video footage for the Miata to figure out what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
But as soon as we get the Miata running, because the Miata is going to be a simple, either we toss the head and get a new head, or we toss the engine and get a whole new engine. And the
worst case scenario, we toss the car.
I doubt you're going to want to do
off a cliff and film it live.
Well, you probably get some money off that.
We'll make it an event. And you'd be like, wow, Robert is drinking a lot of bourbon there. And it's literally like me half naked, just like pouring it on my face.
Yeah. And then I get to rebuild the engine of a 22RE, or rebuild the 22RE engine.
For the second time?
Well, I'm going to be rebuilding it. The first time was just a head replacement, or head gasket replacement.
No. I'm talking about somebody else rebuilt that engine once before.
I don't know what they did.
You said the engine was completely rebuilt.
No, I said
you said the car was rebuilt. You said the car was a monument to that man.
It was. The head was. He redid the head. He redid the head after it dropped a valve. I'd say that's pretty damn impressive.
Well, moving on. You have a new car.
Yes.
Lots of car projects in the future, which I'm sure so many of our lovely friends with the Foally of Man are less interested in the car talk.
Oh, and you know who is really interested in the car talk?
Who?
Oreo fans.
That is true.
Yeah, they're totally for it.
The contingency of Oreo and tears. Oreo tears.
I don't know how to say that without giving myself a stroke.
We didn't get a single Oreo comment today.
No, we didn't.
It must finally be drifting into internet obsolescence.
So we're off of E-famous, but we're still horse famous.
Yeah. I kind of want to do more cooking videos too, but that's a discussion for a different day. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's been lovely. Yep. It's always lovely. Yep. And it's been nice to kind of get back into the regular swing of things. You know, we really needed a good shot of fiber to help us eliminate a couple of episodes here on the Foally of Man. So
I feel like too much fiber would prevent us from recording a very long episode.
With that bombshell, for Chris, I'm Robert, and this has been the Foally of Man. We will see you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Next week. Same studio, same YouTube channel. You better believe it, brother.